All right. So in this session, I want to talk a little bit more about how we use the power of archetype, right, which is this underlying elemental pattern in all things, not just our lives, but here we're talking about our own lives, right? How we use the power of archetype to manifest and create the life of our dreams. So we're in the middle of registration for this winter season advising cohort 2022. And to help you understand like what exactly we're doing in this, I want to talk about how you actually use the power of archetypal manifestation to create the life of your dreams. And I'll give you the 5 key steps and explain more about them in this video. And then if you want to, help with it to do it together in a group online over the next 3 months, you can sign up for the cohort. But I'm going to give you the core method here. Okay. So step one, you want to discern what archetype you are in now. So, in other words, what is the deeper elemental pattern of your life right now? We are always running not just one archetype, but multiple archetypes in our lives. So, for me, I am a man, I am an American, I am a son, I'm a father, blah, 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 right? But there are other dimensions of archetype as well. I'm a healer, I'm a Harvard alum, I'm a Stanford alum, I'm a business person, blah, blah, blah. And I'll give more examples later in this video and in the video below as well to give you kind of fodder for your mental hopper and trying to discern what archetype you're in right now. So that's step one. Step two is to then look at the archetype you're in right now, for better or worse. Right? Are you the victim? Are you the scapegoat? Are you the provider for your family but unappreciated? Okay. And you decide what about this archetype you like, the benefits. And then what about this archetype you do not like, right? The blockage it is costing you. If you're like, well, I'm a victim and there are no benefits. Well, it's like, well, you are in this archetype for a reason, right? One of the key things is that if you're in an archetype, nobody is stupid, right? So if you're in any archetype that you can discern, you decide what archetype you're in. You are getting paid to do that in some form. There's always some payoff you're getting from being in that archetype, right? So if I'm the victim, for instance, right, one of the payoffs, it's not worth it in my opinion, but one of the payoffs is I don't have to take responsibility, and I get to complain all day, right? So those are technically 2 payoffs of the victim. I don't have to complain, but I have the right to complain because I'm a valid victim, right? The costs may far outweigh any piddling little compensatory benefits that you're getting from being the victim. But you're getting both. You're getting both. Okay. So you decide what you like and decide what you don't like. Fine. That's the current position. That's step 2. Step 3, and there are 5 steps. So step 1 is figure out what archetype you're in. Step 2 is decide what you like or don't like about it. Step 3 is then you start shopping for a new archetype. And I'll give you examples below of how we do this. And what you would like. I mean, what would you like your new car, vehicle, or archetype to be or to do? Right? You would like an archetype that retains all of the benefits that you would like to retain of your current archetype. So I would still like to not have to take responsibility if I'm really honest. And you're not sharing, just between you, me, and the wall, right? I still would like these things. Fine. But I would also like a few other things. And I would like none of the cost and suffering that is associated in this case with being a victim. Okay. And this is where the creative process happens. We start shopping around for the new archetype. And I'll give an example below. Once you have that new archetype, you start migrating your life over to this new archetype. And I'll explain how to do that as well. So that's step 4. Right? Step 3 is start shopping for a new archetype. Once you've found it, step 4 is start migrating over. Step 5, the final step is once you're in the new archetype, you kind of live it out for a bit. It's like trying on a hat. You like walk around with the hat on for a bit and see if you actually like it. This is the quality assurance part of it, where it's like, okay, well, I finally got here. Do I actually like this new house, this new vehicle, this new archetype that I am now inhabiting? And then at that point, you make the same list. What do I like? What do I not like? And then you can then shop for the next archetype after that. And the beauty is, once you know this is what you're doing, you don't have to wait 30 years to shop for the next archetype. You can live in your next archetype for a couple of weeks, make your list of what you like and don't like, and then move again. No mortgage payments, no closing costs, no transaction fees. You can move from house to house, archetype to archetype, as often as you like. Once you have the method, nobody can take it away from you. Right? You can do it over and over again. And what happens is, when you do it over and over again, your life gets better and better. It becomes eventually the life of your dreams. Okay. And so what that means is the life of your dreams. What is the life of your dreams? A life where all of your needs, wants, and desires. And if you're not sure what the difference is between needs, wants, and desires, there's a separate video I'll link to where I explain that in detail. Where all your needs, wants, and desires, all three, are being met, fully met, with no blockage or compromise or contradiction between your needs, wants, and desires. Because you are living in an elemental pattern of life, an archetype, where all of these needs, wants, and desires are just naturally consistent with each other and not in any conflict and contradiction. Right? If you're like, I want a long trunk, I want tusks, and I want gray leathery skin, and I want to be big. Right? If you're like a mouse, it's like none of these are consistent. You're like blocking yourselves. You are gray, but you're furry. Well, maybe you can have big ears as a mouse, but you won't be large and you won't have tusks. But when you find the right archetype, like in this case, obviously elephant, right? You have the trunk, you have everything, and you're not even breaking a sweat. It's just you're inhabiting the pattern that intrinsically meets all of your needs, wants, and desires without any conflict or contradiction. And the 5-step process I just gave you is the process for you to get to there. Right now, these contradictions between need, want, and desire are the things that end up blocking your life and feel like self-sabotage. Okay. Now, once you get all this, the rest is a much more straight shot. Right? Once you figure out what archetype you're in and you've done this cycle once, and in the advising cohort, we advise you through the next 12 weeks, through the winter, into New Year's, into the spring, where we're literally setting up to explode into the spring out of winter. Okay. We help you do this 5-step process across all major areas of your life: career, money and finances, finding and following your bliss, your body and body image, relationship with your body, health issues that you may have that you're grappling with, relationships, your main romantic relationships, but also your family relationships. Okay, and it can be extended to work relationships as well. In each of these areas, this is what we do in the hands-on advising cohort directly with me. In each of these areas, what is the current elemental pattern you are living out in each of these areas? And in each one, do you like it? What do you like? What do you not like? And again, then in each one, what is the next archetypal pattern, given my known needs, wants, and desires, that I would like to migrate to from here? Right? What is my desired destination? Now, what happens is, once you do this across all of these different life areas, you get there, you get to the new archetype, and you're living out, seeing what you don't like. When you make your list of what you like and don't like, a magical thing happens. You typically get everything you asked for. And then you realize once you're there, well, that's not the end of the story. Now that I'm here and I have all this stuff, I realize now that I'm here that there's all this additional stuff that I desire as well. And that's okay. You didn't fail. You just didn't know what those desires were. And you couldn't know until you reach the next archetype. Once you're in the next archetype, you're like, okay, I'm here. I'm liking it. But now I'm realizing I want this adjusted. I want that adjusted. And we do that. We just do it all again. And we find the next archetype after that. And over time, it may be the first time you do the archetypal navigation and transformation that you get to the life of your dreams, or it may be you get there and you're just like, yeah, I got everything I wanted, but it's still not enough. It's still not quite the life of your dreams. You have the method and the skills to keep going until you reach it. Typically what happens is you start unearthing desires you didn't even know you had. But once you find them, you realize they're real. You end up going beyond what your original dreams were, because your original dreams, it's so good. The old saying, it's so good even in my dreams, I couldn't have imagined how good it is. And this is how you get to that point. So obviously the cohort should be named like creating the life even better than your dreams. I don't know, because what you can dream and imagine, you will get to like at some level, okay, across all of these areas. But once you get there, you will realize additional dreams and desires you didn't know you had. But at that point, you're going to have the method to just keep going. It's basically like lather, rinse, repeat once you have the method down. Okay. And so the ultimate goal here, when you do this archetypal manifestation process, is that you're not just living your dream life for a week, like Instagram off in Bali or some like, sun-drenched beach kind of area, but rather not just for a week, but where the life of your dreams is your ongoing, everyday, day in, day out life, precisely because at that point, this is the underlying pattern of your entire life across career, relationships, body health, money, etc., etc. Where in all of these areas, your needs, wants, and desires are being fully met and are in harmony with each other, not in conflict. Okay. So the example, archetypal example, I mean, the elephant was already one. Let's say you are a cat, right? So you have fur, you have claws, you hunt mice, you're fast on your feet, but you don't fly. You don't fly. Uh, and the thing you really desire is, I want everything and I want to fly. Okay. Well, there's an archetype for that. The archetype is a bird, right? Now, there are all these things that are involved when you become a bird. You lay eggs, you don't give live birth anymore. You have feathers, not fur. You have a beak, not fangs. Uh, you actually still have claws, but they work a little bit differently. So we can say, okay, so to meet your requirement of flying, we can move to the archetype of bird. And here it's like, from victim to something else to whatever, right? It's more in the human world. But just to use this ridiculous example, from cat to a bird. So you move to bird, and you say, thank God I can fly now. Okay. And when you have moved into the archetypal position and manifestation of being a bird, flying is not against the laws of physics anymore because you're not a cat anymore. You're a bird, and it's perfectly trivial for a bird to fly. Okay. But you're laying eggs. So you're like, oh, I don't want to lay eggs. I want to give live birth. So is there a mammal that flies? Yes. I mean, there's a flying squirrel, there's bats. So you would change from the bird to the bat archetype. Or you could say, look, I'm a bird. I'm fine with laying eggs, but I don't want to eat berries and seeds. I miss eating mice. I want to keep eating mice like I was when I was a cat. Then we say, okay, is there a bird that eats mice? Yes, it's an owl, right? But it's nocturnal. And you're like, okay, so that's your next archetypal manifestation. And then you're like, okay, I'm eating mice, I'm flying, great, but I want to be diurnal. I don't want to be nocturnal. I want to do my stuff during the day. So it's like, is there something that flies and eats mice and it's during the day? In that example, it would be falcon or hawk. Okay. So if even in the animal world, we can come up with these examples where it's like, you notice here, the key is not whether it's possible. Anything is possible. The key is, what is your desire? And as a cat, if we know your number one desire, the number one thing you don't like about being a cat is that you cannot fly, then we're cooking. Then we have something to work on, right? Then we define the next archetype. We creatively look for it. And then we start navigating our way toward that archetype. And in the cohort, we talk all about how to do this step by step. And then you get there, and now you're an owl, and you decide what you like or don't like from there. Okay. So this is how we think about it. These are the steps. In other videos I share in the series, we'll talk about the specifics of need, want, and desire. But that's what I wanted to share in this one. I hope that was helpful. Email me with any questions you have. Also, the other thing I should say is that in the video below, there's all the detail on the cohort, the actual advising cohort we're doing. If there is a budget issue, right? If there is a budget issue, it's a little bit much for this time of year. We won't do this again until next year, obviously, because of the seasonal thing. But let me know. You can shoot me an email anyway. There are sessions from the free Live Sacred Space series that, just like this session actually, will give you the basic um, methodology of how to try to do this on your own. Okay, um, because you should be able to just do this, right? And the cohort is for those of you more who are familiar with my work, have been waiting for an opportunity to, you couldn't make Athens, you couldn't make the summer cohort, and you've just been licking your chops waiting for the opportunity to get another sort of personal group scenario to interact with me. Um, I don't know what we'll be doing after this. So in the spring, will we have another cohort like this? I don't know. It's kind of up in the air right now. So that's really what the cohort is for, where you have these concepts, you like these concepts, you like how I work, and you're ready to like get down and sit with me directly, right? Um, in this dynamic, very direct and personalized back and forth, where we get to work on your actual archetypes and get things rolling. Um, and that obviously costs more money because that's a lot of like everybody's time, the team on this side, me, and all the personalization and support and customization. So anyway, all of that information is in the video below. Email if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next session. Thank you.